Hello my Wolfpack and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. So today we are covering my draft analysis for the Phantom Little Cup League. This is a league that has been created and arranged by the Phantom Michael. His channel is in the description down below, so I'd recommend you go and check that out. Come and subscribe to him because he also produces a lot of fantastic content. Now this is obviously a Little Cup League, so obviously only primary Pokemon that are available, so Pokemon that are the first evolution and can evolve. Now, I've never really played Little Cup before, so I had an interesting strategy when trying to come up with a team. I think the first two Pokemon were the only ones I really wanted, and I'll go through those in just a minute, but they were the first ones that I really wanted, and the rest of the team was kind of just building upon that. Also, I want to say, obviously, if you have been here for a while, you will know that I was originally called the Suffolk Skuntank. I was the coach of the Suffolk Skuntanks. Now, I am the coach of the Norfolk Nidorinas. I decided to do a rebrand because I don't actually live in Suffolk anymore, so it was just a better choice for me to go for the Norfolk Nidorinas instead. Now, before we get started, please make sure you do leave a like down on that like bar down below. Once you're down there, hit that subscription button, turn on notifications. We are going to have a battle every single week on the channel, possibly do some team builders as well, depending on what people want. So please do let me know in the comment section if you would like to see team builders as well as the battles. But yeah, without further ado, let's look at my first Pokemon. So first of all, I decided to draft Trapinch. Now Trapinch, I thought, was a really interesting Pokemon. It was the first Pokemon that stuck out to me when I was having a look through the lists. And Trapinch gets a good variety of moves. It gets holds of Earthquake, Strong Stab, Ground type attack, Rock Slide. It gets access to First Impression, Crunch, and a variety of other moves as well. It just is a really cool Pokemon. I can Band it, I can Life Orb Sheer Force it if I want to. I can use Arena Trap if I want to trap any Pokemon. I've got Hyper Cutter, so intimidate Pokemon, don't scare me. And yeah. Even put this on the Trick Room. Even put this in the Trick Room, which is where my next Pokemon comes in. So, my second Pokemon was Solosis. Now, Solosis has a base 105 special attack stat, is very slow as well, and also can set up the Trick Room, which I thought is a really cool thing to do. I really want to kind of focus on the ability to have Trick Room on this set, because I have decided to draft a few slower Pokemon. Now, Solosis, obviously having access to Psychic type moves, a stab. I think it has access to Thunder, it has access to Trick Room, Trick, a variety of different things. I think it has access to Regenerator as its ability, possibly even Magic Guard. I'm not sure if they're the same as Reuniclus's, but off the top of my head, I know that it's a fantastic Pokemon to draft in Draft League format, so that's why I went for it on my tier 2 pick, or my second pick, sorry. I should also have said this is a free draft, so essentially there are no points. It's just a case of you pick whatever Pokemon you want. So some teams can get very broken, some teams can get very unbroken. But yeah, that's the whole tier idea here. So this is my second Pokemon, and now we go on to round 3. And I was really shocked to see that Rufflet was still available in round 3. So I decided to pick this up, even though I hadn't really had any plans at this point to pick up Rufflet. But seeing it there and knowing that it can destroy was an option. So again, I can have Sheer Force Life Orb in here. I can even have just Sheer Force Choice Scarf. I can have Choice Scarf Hustle if I want to. It gets access to things like Brave Bird, U-Turn, Close Combat, like lots of, or Superpower. I think it's Close Combat as well, but it gets access to so many good moves. I can use it as a defogger if I need to. I can even use the Tailwind option. So honestly, this is such a good Pokemon. It's really, really nice. And for a third pick, I thought, oh my goodness, this is crazy that it's lasted this long. I'm going to take it. Now, my fourth Pokemon is Bonsly. Now, I saw that Cypher had been drafted by someone, so I thought, I need a Rock type. I need a Rock type to deal with, one, Flying type, so they don't just sweep through my team. And two, that Cypher could be a problem, and things like Rock types, not Rock types, Bug types and Fire types, again, could be a problem. Same with Ice types. So this was just to bulk out my team a little bit more. Sorry, I got something in my eye. But yeah, Bonsly worked really nice. Originally, I had my eyes on Rhyhorn, but unfortunately Rhyhorn got picked up just a few turns before that. And I did also have a look at Rock and Roller. Originally I was going to go for Rock and Roller, but then I saw Bonsly and I thought, actually, Bonsly has an extra base 5 in its attack and its defense with 5 less in its speed. So if I'm running Trick Room, Bonsly actually works a little bit better. Now Bonsly obviously gets access to a variety of different rock moves. It's got incredibly high defense as well, so I can use that as a defensive wall to support myself. Obviously at this point I'm very aware that I have 2 Pokemon that are weak to water type moves, and that is something that I'm going to have to sort out in the upcoming rounds. Now my fifth pick originally wasn't going to be Spritzee. I was originally going to go for something completely different, and then I had Swirlix on my radar, and I saw that Swirlix was picked up by the Phantom Michael literally 2 turns before mine, and I thought, nope, I need to go for this now because I need a fairy type on my team, because the next Pokemon that I'm going to draft, or I have drafted, the next Pokemon I have drafted means that I will have a weakness to Dark type, so I knew that I needed a fairy type on here, and also Spritzee gets access to things like Trick Room as well, so I don't even have to run Solosis if I don't need to. It gets a good variety of moves. I believe it gets Flamethrower, I think it's Thunderbolt, obviously things like Dazzling Gleam as well. It's just a really cool Pokemon, so I thought it's a fun Pokemon that I should be able to use quite effectively in my team, which is relatively good. Now, yeah, as I said, I didn't really plan to do Spritzee initially, but then I thought after that Swirlix went, I just need a fairy type Pokemon on my team. I needed a fairy type Pokemon because the next Pokemon is Phantump. Now Phantump obviously being weak to Dark type, this would mean that I have Phantump and Solosis both weak to Dark type moves, so I needed something there to counteract that. Phantump I thought was really, really cool. Originally I was kind of unsure about what I wanted to do, but I saw it gets access to things like Trick Room, it has Horn Leech, I can run Harvest shenanigans with like Oranberry if I want to, obviously getting 10 health back when we go less than 50%, I believe. So having that as an option is definitely going to be a lot of fun. I've got Leech Seed, obviously. I could even run potentially a special set if I needed to. I've got access to Shadow Claw, Ghost type moves, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to try and run Phantump. I thought it just works quite well with this team that I'm trying to run. And I also needed a Grass type. I needed a Grass type because I knew that Ground type moves were going to be a bit of a pain, especially if I bring Bonsly along with me. Next up we have Porygon. So at this point I was really unsure where to go with the draft, and I saw a lot of really bulky Pokemon being picked up, and I full well knew that I had several Pokemon that were physical. So I had Trapinch, Rufflet, Bonsly and Phantump, all that were physical. So 4 of my 10 were physical, and at this point I only had Spritzee and Solosis that were special. So 2 to 4 at the minute, so I decided I need to pick up something with a little bit more of a special capability, and also something that was very defensive and specially defensive. I did want a specially defensive wall, and Porygon fulfills that. Porygon 100% fulfills that. It gets access to a variety of good moves. It can obviously be very defensive. I can put the Eviolite on it if I need it. We are limited to 1 Eviolite per match, so I thought Porygon would work quite nice with that. Even if not, I've still got access to a variety of good moves. But yeah, that was kind of my whole idea of Porygon. I don't really know where I'm necessarily going to go with it. I could end up transferring some with Toxic over, because we are allowing transfer moves. If not, I've got things like Thunder Wave, which could be beneficial. Let's say that I don't bring a Trick Room user at some point. I've got Porygon able to use a Thunder Wave to obviously reduce the speed of the opposing Pokemon. So things like Spritzee, Phantump, Rufflet, they can all get in there quite well. Next up, we have Scraggy. Now, I was sat there thinking I have this weakness to Dark types. I had Spritzee, but I wanted something else just in case I don't bring Spritzee one week. I wanted another option that was going to resist those Dark type moves, and we got Scraggy. Honestly, at this point, a lot of the Fire-type Pokemon had gone, so I was a bit like, I don't know what to do, because Scraggy was one of the only ones left. I think Scraggy and a couple of other pretty weak Fire-type Pokemon. But at this point, I thought, you know what, let's go for Scraggy. It gets things like Dragon Dance. I think it gets Swords Dance as well. It gets Power Up Punch, so I could even run like Assault Vest if needed, because obviously we've got that 1 Eviolite rule. And yeah, I thought Scraggy just works quite nice. It gets access to knockoff, so you can get rid of items, so that could be handy. It gets access to Drain Punch, some good Fire-type moves in general, good Dark type moves, access to Sucker Punch for some priority. So yeah, lots and lots of good stuff I can say about Scraggy. I think it was actually a good pickup on my behalf in the end, even though it has got that 4 times weakness to Fairy, but I have got the likes of Spritzy to kind of take us down on that. And as well, I don't think any of the other members of my team are actually weak to Fairy type attacks, which is pretty good. Next up, I decided to go for Staryu. At this point, I was looking at different Water-type Pokemon. I was going to go for Wailmer, but unfortunately Wailmer got taken literally like 3... Actually, no, I think Wailmer got took before I was going to have Scraggy, but Wailmer was on my next choice for when I was going to take Scraggy, because I wanted something again with a bit more bulk, but that ended up getting taken from me by someone else. Didn't get taken from me because it wasn't my turn, but yeah. Didn't get Wailmer, and at this point I have 5 Pokemon that are physical, and then I have 3 Pokemon that are special, so I needed another Pokemon that was special. I 100% needed a special Pokemon, and I saw Staryu there, and I thought actually Staryu could work quite nicely. It gets access to a variety of different moves, including things like Thunderbolt, and the fact that I haven't got an Electric-type user, or Electric-type Pokemon, it could come back and bite me. Now, this can come in, this can absorb up water attacks. It doesn't have water absorb, but it can absorb up water attacks and can use Thunderbolt on them. So it gives me that little bit of kind of comfort knowing that I have something to absorb those water-type moves. And finally, I went for Darumaka G. Now, this was a difficult Pokemon for me to decide for. We got to this round, and all the Pokemon that I was even remotely interested in had been taken at this point. I just wasn't really sure what necessarily would make my team look a little bit better, and I thought an Ice type could work quite nicely, just because it has got quite a bit of coverage, and Darumaka also has the opportunity to Belly Drum, so things like Belly Drum and holding the Berry Juice, that will allow for that to work really nicely. So hopefully the Darumaka will actually be able to put in some work. I think obviously having resistances to ice in Staryu. I don't know what else I've resistant to ice. I've got a lot of weaknesses to ice actually. Hold on, wait, why am I talking about ice? No, this is what also takes away, it gives me a resistance to ice, which I already had quite a few issues with ice at this point. Obviously Trapinch and Phantom both not responding very well to ice beams or whatnot, and then Staryu could possibly get taken with a freeze dry. So having this, I think, is just kind of a last Pokemon. Whether I'm going to use it or not, I don't actually know. Obviously, I will assess each team each week and see what I decide on. So overall, I'm actually really happy with this team. I went in, all I wanted was Trapinch for Solosis. I think that combination was all I really wanted to start with, and then I kind of built it out from there. So the Ruffler, I think, was an amazing pickup, 100%. Phantom was something I was looking at from early on, so I'm really glad I got that. Porygon, I've used Porygon 2 so many times, so Porygon isn't going to be very different from that, which means that I've got a Pokemon that I'm really comfortable with. Scraggy was on my radar from the beginning, but I thought I was going to be ending up picking up a different fighting type, and I was worried about that 4 times weakness to Fairy. Bonsly, again, not really a Pokemon that I'm going to be too familiar with, but I'll still use it. Spritzy, as I said, wasn't the original one I wanted, but I think it definitely fills it in okay. And then Staryu, I kind of just went for a Water-type Pokemon. Like, I was just looking for a special Water-type Pokemon at this point. I did consider Tentacle for the Scraggy to allow for the Fairy to not do too much damage, but I also looked at it and I was kind of like, yeah, ground-type attacks are going to be doing a lot of damage to me. I did also consider having Ponyta as my last pick, but unfortunately someone did pick that literally just 2 goes before me, so that's the way the draft league goes. That's always the way it goes, so I'm not worried at all. I think we've actually got a really solid team. I know for Rufflet, if I put a Scarf on it and Hustle, I could potentially just click Brave Birds until I sweep the team, or even things like potentially Acrobatics if I go for Sheer Force. I'm assuming that Sheer Force works with Acrobatics, but I need to double check a lot of stuff and just make sure that it's all going smoothly. And yeah, that is it for today's draft analysis. I hope that you're as excited for this league as I am. We have got the match schedule coming out at some point today. I haven't actually seen it yet, but hopefully we'll have a video soon of our first battle. This is a Sword and Shield battle. So I will be recording this from actually on Sword and Shield rather than Showdown. And yeah, I'm super excited. Please do comment down below, what's your favourite member of our team? What's your favourite member of our team? I think mine is probably actually Ruffler. Probably actually Ruffler, even though I really want that Trapinch. I think that Ruffler is going to come in so much handy. But anyways, that is all for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do like, subscribe, and comment down below, as I just said. Turn on those notifications because we are going to have plenty of battles coming out. That is all for today. So I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you soon.